Ace?
Hey, what is up, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too. I think I hear an echo from your side.
Here, let me.
Yeah,
All right, how does it sound now? Does it sound better?
perfecto. Yeah,
Nice.
we got it, we got it. Well, I'm doing well. How's your Saturday been going?
Pretty good. Just being off work is good enough. I was excited to do this with you and, get to hang with your community as if I'm in chat. Like it's just another day, except I'm on the screen this
Yeah,
time.
thank you so much for being part of Lunch with a Friend, though. I really appreciate it. I'm
It's my pleasure.
hungry. I'm hungry, and I'm sure you're hungry. What did you bring for lunch?
So I got some Wendy's. I was gonna make a sandwich like wheat with turkey, but I felt like some Wendy's today. I got some nuggets,
Yeah,
and I
nice.
got a little bit of my lemonade here. I was a little hungry before I couldn't contain myself, so got my lemonade, and then to snack on, I got some sour cream and onion chips.
Nice. Awesome.
Not the absolute healthiest, but I feel like I'm pretty careful, so today's one of my splurge days. I'll consider it
Yeah,
that.
we all have cheat days, so it's okay. It's okay. I also brought lunch too. I
Awesome.
made
What'd you bring?
I made myself a. I don't know if you can see it. It's a margarita pizza.
Oh, I don't think I've had one, but I know the ingredients that I'm aware that's on that sounds really good. Is,
Yeah.
is spinach one of them? And like tomato sauce?
Yep. Yep.
Nice. That's all I need on a pizza, and I'm sold. But yeah,
Hmm.
I'm sure I'd love a margarita too.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like, oh man, it's kind of like those fire burn kind of pizza. The style of it, as I can tell. Yeah, I'm already
That's
like, man,
awesome.
I'm really hungry already.
Like what brand? I mean, I know where you live is a different place than me. Like what brand is it?
uh, dang. Let me see the box real quick.
I think it's super technical. I was just
Yeah.
I was curious.
You hear me? It's Simple Nature Organic.
Oh, nice, nice. I'll have to remember that. Or I'll just go to my store and see what the what margarita pizza brands are. I don't even know.
Yeah. Do you have a Aldi?
Yes, I do. Is that where you got that
Yep,
one?
yep. I get all my groceries from Aldi.
Awesome. I mean, that's where I usually go. I haven't been there in a bit. I've been kind of slacking on the cooking as much as I used to, but I will be getting back into that soon. But yeah, I make, there's a dish called chicken divan. It's like cheese,
Uh-huh.
like just oven, just like roasted chicken,
Ooh.
broccoli, cream of chicken, a little bit of lemon juice, like just bake it as a casserole with white rice. Oh my gosh, so good,
Oh my
so good.
gosh. With you just saying that,
So,
my stomach just legit rumbled.
ah,
It did not detect it on the camera or on the mic. I was like, ooh, did he hear that?
no, I didn't hear it, but it's good. I might have to make you some sometime. Maybe I'll be able to like do some dinner with Ace. Maybe who knows?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Before we start on our conversation, let's take a bite of our food. Let's cheers. Do you still have more nuggets?
Yes. Let me go ahead and get started.
Alright.
All right, ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's it. And my drink. Cheers,
Yeah, let's
man.
go. Hmm. I took a big bite of that.
Native quite good.
So good. So good.
I think Wendy's are the only one of the only set of nuggets I can eat without sauce.
Hmm.
I've got ranch, but I kind of feel like no sauce at the moment. But in case I got some ranch sitting here too.
What do you prefer? Wendy's chicken nuggets or McDonald's chicken nuggets?
Mm, That's a good question. Honestly, they're both good, so it just depends on the day.
Hmm.
Well, I was literally thinking about McDonald's nuggets too, but I'm like, I haven't been to Wendy's in a long time, and their nuggets are quite good too.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And you say you prefer no sauce at all? You just eat it plain?
I usually do ranch, but it's just like today, like in
Oh,
particular, I feel like having no sauce because I have a few left. I've kind of been munching on them a bit, but I
okay.
had a little bit of ranch with them earlier.
Yep.
But sometimes the Wendy's, like no matter what, I can like they have enough, I guess, sodium in them, enough flavor in them, to where I can eat them without sauce if I ever wanted to.
Okay.
But I usually do ranch with my nuggets over there.
Hmm. Nice. That's how I feel about McDonald's French fries. Whenever I get to like eat them, I don't need ketchup or anything. Just it alone is good.
Oh, they're fries. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, as long as they're not too cold, I can do that. But like I'd say maybe like 90% of the time I'll do ketchup with them, just because they get a little cold. Maybe that's just me not eating them quick enough. But they're pretty good when they're hot or like a little less than hot without ketchup. They're really good. I
Mm-hmm.
agree.
Yep. Awesome. Oh, this is for the chat. If there's any like audio issues that you detect, if you can let me know if you guys can hear Ace very well and myself, but sometimes the balances can be a little bit but if you think it's perfect,
Right.
just let us know. I'll be happy to adjust anything. Um okay, cool. All right, let's see here, Ace. I'm gonna start off with the first question for you. So,
Awesome.
I want to know the origins of your name. How'd you come up with that? AceUnlimited00.
So funny story I'll have to mention before I tell you. So back when I first started doing competitive Tekken back in I think 2007, there was a website called Tekken's Ibatsu where there was like information sharing. We'd share strats and stuff like that. And there was a spot at the bottom of your profile where you could like put a little message, like a little signature, and I put the explanation of my name so people would know because I think people might think I'm slightly vain by the name alone. Like, oh, Ace Unlimited, that must mean he thinks he can ace people a limited amount of time. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, no, that's not what it means.
Yep.
So, getting into the meaning, Ace is sort of like a moniker that I've been using ever since I was like a teenager, maybe even slightly before. It's just like at first it was like Ace of Spades, and I did like Ace Man, like say stuff like that, and then when it came to competitive tech, and I'm like, I just use Ace as a gamer tag, but I guess I'll make this the final form of Ace. So
Yeah.
I said, what could I use to add on to Ace this time to make it significant or make it meaningful to me? And believe it or not, the unlimited part, I'm sure you played Dance Dance Revolution before, have you
Oh
not?
yeah, love DDR.
So there's a boss song from DDR Max 2 for the PlayStation 2 in the US, but I think it's on DDR Max 1 on the
Yep.
arcades in Japan. It's called Max Unlimited. It's a boss song.
Oh, okay.
And I was thinking, I think Unlimited might work because I was playing that song on the on the computer. You can use your fingers to play DDR on it. It's called Setmania for those of you that don't know. So Ace Unlimited pretty much just is Ace is just a name I just randomly picked. Unlimited is sort of attributed to I guess my mindset or my style. I just don't limit myself to one particular like set of thinking. I just kind of just like I'm just very flexible as far as entering a realm and sort of, for lack of a better phrase, maybe infiltrating it or just sort of understanding it and moving to the next. I'm not limited to one mode of thinking, I guess you could say.
Nice. I like that. It's always a good way to think about stuff like that in life. Just always keep going and keep going and going. You know?
For sure. And like I said, for those that think that I'm vain and that it means that I'm acing people, just destroying people, that's not what it means. It's got more meaning to it than that.
Yep. This is why we do these in the beginning with the explanations with the names and everything. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with us.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you asking. Thank you.
Oh yeah, of course. Since you're talking about like competitive, gaming, because you compete in like Tekken and Street Fighter, I know. How did you get into that?
Well,
Into that
that's funny.
competitive phase?
Yes, that's a funny, not really a funny story, but it's kind of interesting. It was kind of like around the same time where I came up with the name. So how I got into Tekken's I bought to that website and everything. I used to live in Virginia, like Northern Virginia. There was an arcade back in Springfield, Virginia. I forgot. I think the arcade was called Time Out. If you've ever been to that brand of arcade before.
Oh no, I haven't.
Um, so yeah, I think it's only in select like places, but yeah, that was the name of the arcade if I'm not mistaken. So I went in there like I usually do. I would play Tekken 5 a lot, but there was a crowd around the Tekken 5 machine. Tekken 5 is when I started playing competitively,
Oh,
and there was this guy that no one could beat, and I'm like, why don't I give it a try? So I ended up playing him. The character he used was Jack 5. I remember that, and pretty sure I used Asuka. That was my first tournament character.
mhm.
So I ended up beating him, which is pretty cool. And then that's when the locals there introduced themselves to me, and they eventually told me that there were tournaments that took place where you could, make a little pocket change and whatnot. And ever since I knew about or found that out, I just sort of like stayed on that. I thought it was cool that I could play, a couple of my favorite games or Tekken at the time, and then just use my abilities, whether it be mental, whether it just be like my finger speed, my reaction time, just use whatever gifts I had at the time to try to make a living or a partial living, if you will.
Right.
So that's where the competitive part started for me.
Oh, what year was that when you started?
This was it was between 2006 and 2007. I remember my second Zaibatsu account was in 2006, so I think it was early 2006, and I had my profile made in late 2006. If I'm not mistaken, it was December.
Oh, okay, nice, awesome. So you've been at it for quite a while, long time.
This really shows how old I am. So yeah, 2006. We're in 2023, so that is about 17 years, isn't it? That's been a while.
Nice, 17 years. What was your so that was kind of like your first tournament that you got to compete in. Then after that, what was your kind of like your biggest one? Because I know, have you competed the one in Florida?
Yes, as CEO.
Yep.
So the guy at the arcade machine, that wasn't really a tournament. That was like sort of just casual play. But my
Okay.
first tournament, if I'm not mistaken, was at that same arcade. Funny story. Also, I didn't know that there was a registration fee. Funnily enough, that shows how much of a noob I was at the tournament scene.
Mhm.
So they said I couldn't enter, but someone paid my way for me, and I didn't win that tournament, but I believe I got top four. I think there were like 8 or 9 people that entered. It was a kind of small tournament, but I played slightly high. I was sort of getting my bearings and um learning how to like get into the competitive scene, what things I needed to know.
Yep.
But you're mentioning a tournament in Florida?
Yep.
Yeah, the one that I've been going to in Florida the most is called CEO,
Okay.
standing for Community Effort Orlando. That's my favorite tournament. Even after going to Evo, Evo's great, don't get me wrong, but it's just the staff at CEO, like just like the Creative Artista, they always bring something new every year. It never gets old. But yeah, CEO is definitely my favorite. It's right now. It used to be in Orlando, like exclusively. Now it goes between Orlando and Daytona Beach. It was in Daytona Beach this
Oh.
particular year. I couldn't go this year due to financial reasons,
Yep.
but I've been there for like maybe 7, 8 years straight. I would never miss one.
Oh, okay.
But it's a major tournament. It's not just a tournament that's there though. There's vendors that they can make you, like, I forget what they're called, but you can make like a necklace and they put like one of your favorite characters in 8-bit form, and then they make little necklace out of it, like little
Oh, the
pictures.
artist alleys, right?
Yeah, yeah, there you go. So
Okay.
there's those. Sometimes they'll have like a 24-hour arcade. So even when the tournament part's not going on, you can play retro games. You can play whatever games they have. It's mostly retro stuff. They usually do have DDR. They've been having DDR Ace tournaments there as of late. So that's pretty cool that they include the DDR scene there. I think that's awesome as well. But yeah, CEO. It's usually June of every year. It wasn't December like during the pandemic because with timing, like June wasn't the best month, so they had it in December. Then they eventually returned to June. So they had two CEOs like within 6 months of each other, which they've never done. I'm like, geez, like usually people need more time to save up, but they still had
Right.
it, and now they're back on track, back in June and everything. But that tournament's really it's really fun. I really have a good time every time I go.
Okay. I've heard of it. I always wanted to go. Maybe that's the next stop I should go and like check out.
Are you
'Cause-
far? Are you far from Florida?
yeah, I'm in the Midwest, so I'm pretty far.
Yeah, I figured you were, but I was wondering like how like if you're like further Midwest towards the Southeast and Florida, or are you like
Kind of
sort
close
of?
by, like Chicago, so it's not that far. So it'd probably be only like a maybe 2 to 3 hour plane ride.
Gotcha. Oh, that's not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Yeah, because everything is that's the perks of living in the Midwest because it's right in the middle. So California to me, it's like only like 2 3 hour plane ride, and it would be
Yeah, like
probably
right
the
in the
same
middle.
thing. Hmm.
Yeah, like for me to Florida, I'm not even that far. It's a 10-hour plus drive for me. I try not to drive when I can, but when I fly, it's about an hour, 15 minutes. It's a really
Oh,
short flight. I can just take a quick nap if I want to. I wake up and I'm there. So that's
oh,
pretty cool.
nice, awesome, cool, cool. Let's see here. Grim Not Grim has a question for you. I'll read this out for you, Ace.
Yeah.
Question for Ace: what is a good starting point for competitive gaming?
A good point. Do you mean as far as like what game, or do you just like mean at what point in general?
Let's see. And let's see. And how difficult would it be for a casual gamer like myself to start actually becoming a competitive player? I also live in a smallish city where there aren't really any major places nearby that would host gaming tournaments. And he said just like in general.
In general, okay. So answering both questions, I feel like now is a good as time as any because when I started back then, I mean, internet was a thing, but the resources as far as like the communities reaching out to each other internationally, like that wasn't as big of a thing as it is now. Now we're in the esports realm, which wasn't really a thing when I started, but as we got into the 2000s or the 2010s, it became more of a thing. If you can watch people who literally stream fighting game stuff all day, there's even I forget I wish I knew the name, but there is a service where you can like request lessons, request private sessions, with however much the person that is hosting the session wants to take to help you get better at fighting games. I feel like now is a very good time, even though the scene's been here for a while. As far as accessibility, it's a lot better than it was when I started back in the early 2000s. Um, and as far as a good starting point, I mean, just find a game that you like, and I stress the phrase "you like." If you try to pick up a game with the intent of just trying to, get fame or get money without considering if you actually like the game, I feel like that is a extremely significant decision to make. I feel like it's important if you have the love for the game, and then if you decide to stick with it, that'll make it much more worthwhile. If you love something versus not love something, and you try to stick with it, if you love it, it's more worthwhile versus not liking it. It's more of a chore. So definitely find a fighting game that you like. Like d-Rad has told you, I play Street Fighter and Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 6 right now. Um, but yeah, there's other games. There's more 2D games. There's other 3D games like Dead or Alive. I think Tekken in general is the most popular 3D game in terms of competition, and perhaps sales as well. But yeah, I would just say a great starting point is finding a game that you enjoy playing, whether it has a big scene or not. I feel like just stick with the game, whether if the scene's big or not. Don't let how big the scene is discourage you. Just stick with it, and then maybe once you either get lessons or explore the game yourself and learn these skills on your own, or you have a mentor, whichever you want. I'm obviously up for helping out whatever game. I helped a friend play a game that I didn't even think about playing called Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive 5 is another 3D game. He wanted to get into the scene too, so I've been there like one on one with a friend of mine, and it was discouraging to him a bit, but I feel like with the direction I was taking him in, he eventually got to a point where he was comfortable. He went to his first tournament. He didn't take the losses that lightly because, of course, if you go to bigger tournaments, there's people out there that like to talk and they like to say things, but don't let that discourage you. Just look at it as just dealing with a sort of a palette of social anxiety if you have that sort of anxiety. But yeah, there's people out there that are willing to help you with that, including myself. But just to end that, yeah, just start with finding a game that you genuinely, legitimately like to play.
Awesome. Thanks for the tips on everything about that. That's really cool, Ace.
No problem. I'm glad to help and get the words out there.
Yeah. I'm gonna read more of Graham's response. He said, "Yeah, because I have a very bad habit of spamming because combos are very difficult for me because my brain is slow. I'm pressing multiple different buttons very accurately. So, would you know anything about the FPS kind of tournaments?"
I haven't been.
Yeah.
I haven't been to one myself personally, but I can sort of speak on a general tournament, like foundation that the foundation that I have going to tournaments. I mean, if it's offline, I mean, if you're gonna go, some tips I can give. Punctuality is very important, especially if it's a big tournament and based on who the tournament organizer is. Some TOs are more lenient than others, but the ones that have been in the game and those that know how to like keep stuff punctual and on time, if they don't see you or if you're not in the area, they will not hesitate to disqualify you. Not to scare you, but I'm just sort of preparing you for that realm if you decide to get into it. Just just make sure sometimes they'll even have discords where they'll ping you. I'm not sure what it's like in the FPS realm, but definitely if there's a tournament area that you need to be in, like just be around that area for the duration of your tournament pool or whatever stage of the tournament that you're in. At least, especially to the point where you can hear them. Just check in with them. If you win a match, likely if you win and you stay in the winners bracket, most tournaments that I've seen, especially in the fighting game community, they're double elimination. So if you stay in winners, which means you haven't lost the match yet, you'll be playing more rapidly. Once you go into the, for lack of a better term, losers bracket or the bottom bracket, it'll take a little bit longer to get through your bracket because they're trying to get through winners first because winners is quicker to get to. It's less matches. But yeah, punctuality. But yeah, as far as first-person shooters, I haven't been to one, but I think generally speaking, as far as tournaments go, hopefully those tips will help you out. And of course, registration is usually online nowadays. Some tournaments, usually smaller ones, will have on-site registration. Some bigger tournaments do, but like online registration is very popular, very useful tool. But yeah, just punctuality and just making sure. I'm not sure how old you are, but I know some tournaments have an age requirement as well. Might have to have a guardian with you if you're under 18. But yeah, just punctuality and yeah, just making sure you know where to go to register and get all your bearings straight.
Mm-hmm. I think like what you're saying, kind of like the first step is kind of just like finding like because the game that you want, but also finding that community that you want to be part of too, because networking is very important these days, and we have access to everything, especially through Discord, which is really cool. And you'll meet people through just not on Twitch, but you can find them on YouTube or even Kick, even Instagram. If you just like hashtag like some certain things, that will pop up, and you'll see a lot of things that relate to you, that you're interested in, Grim. And yeah, we hope that you were able to find something. We wish you the best of luck with whatever you want to be playing with. Anything with first-person shooting. Says you like Smash too, so there's a lot of big communities for that. And just start off small. Just hang out with somebody's community, see if they want, if you're like, if you could join their Discord and just be part of, their chat and like hang out with a bunch of people. Because that's how it worked for me with retro video gaming. I've got to find a lot of people that have very similar interests to me, or just like Ace, he likes fighting games. I also like fighting games, but I'm not competitive. But I like being a spectator and watching really awesome peeps like Ace kill it in like Street Fighter and Tekken. So yeah, it's best of luck to you, Grim.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. The community part is definitely a big part of it because you're going to be around people, obviously. Discord, I'm sure you can find, just type, even as far as the Google search, you can type up a game and maybe type in like whatever, like for example, like Call of Duty, like competitive community, for example. I'm sure you can eventually be steered in the right direction. But yeah, if you find a game that you love playing, and if you can find a community that you vibe with a lot and everyone's respectful, ideally, but there's going to be a few, a few seeds that are of that quality, But if you can find a community that you vibe with like that, and you have a game that you love, I feel like that is very close to an ideal setup to go far in that game's competitive community.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, awesome. Let's see here. You want to play a game with me real quick, Ace? It's a word association game.
Right. Like I said, I'm kind of a noob on this setup now. I'm usually on my PS4, but just give me the directions. I will.
Oh yeah. Oh, no worries. You don't need a computer or nothing. It's basically, right. I'm just gonna say one word to you, and whatever you think of your mind, you could say it right away. So it's kind of like what word goes with this. So, and this is all kind of related to what you've done, or what I've experienced when I've gone to your streams and everything. All right.
Nice. Sounds pretty fun.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So the first one, Tekken.
7.
Right. Street Fighter.
6.
All right. Evo.
Top 8 in Ultra Street Fighter 4. I got last year at Evo.
Awesome. Music.
Violin. I play the violin.
Twitch.
Great interface. Lots of fun.
Streets of Rage.
4. I do stream that a lot.
Console.
You said console?
Yep, console.
PlayStation.
Food.
Potato chips.
And
I'm a big fan.
last one, family.
Family, I guess the word I could pick is just unlimited. Family is whatever you want it to be. It's not limited to one particular thing.
Ah, awesome. Cool. Hey, you did a great job, man.
I was not to give too many words, but I couldn't help but give descriptions on certain ones.
Oh yeah, no worries. Cool. There's a few questions for you, Ace. I'll read them out to you. So this one's from Zinc. Is that how I'm pronouncing your name?
Zinc. Yeah, that's my mod. My current mod.
Hey, what's up, mod? So question for you. I know you play the violin. Does that have any influence on your gaming career? Ooh.
That is kind of a good question. In terms of Twitch, it definitely does. As I'm sure d-Rad's mentioned before, or I know he's mentioned it before, I've been doing violin streams, or have done violin streams. I'm trying to get my whole schedule sorted out now. I want to have an environment on Twitch at the least where I can combine just gaming and just violin music, to where I can have an environment / community where it just blends in seamlessly. I might even do violin like while I'm playing a game or on a gaming stream, at the same time. I also have a violin YouTube that I started back in 2010, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, violin is always, it's in terms of the gaming. Violin was always separate, but with Twitch, I'm definitely gonna sort of combine those two things together to create the community that hopefully I can keep building as I have now.
Awesome. Have you been playing the violin ever since you were a kid? How did you get into playing that instrument?
Yeah, I started playing when I was 11, and literally the way I got into it, I literally just picked an instrument out of my brain. Like my stepmom, she was like sort of the helm of my sister and I's school curriculum, and she's like, "You want to play an instrument?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So what do you want to play? And I said, "Violin, I guess." So I literally just picked something, and funnily enough, violin, the orchestra program in my area, Northern Virginia, Spotsylvania County, they had just started. They started that program, so I was actually in the first graduating class in Spotsylvania County for string orchestra, and I don't know if any other classes have done this, but we actually went to Disney World to perform.
Whoa.
I'm gonna do this year. We went to Disney World. We got to perform. That was pretty cool. It was probably one of the best weekends of my life, hanging out with my orchestra friends, getting to play music. It was really fun. But yeah, I started when I was 11. I'm 35 now. Yes, I got old.
Hey, well, it's just a number. But that's amazing though. I did not know about that. That's something that you'll always remember. That's a cool thing to perform, especially in Disney World. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was on Florida too. And of course, Zank, I don't know if he mentioned it in his comments or questions, but I actually grew up with him in Spotsylvania County. I've known Matt since freshman year in high school. His name's Matt. Say hi, Matt. Say hi to everyone.
Yo.
But yeah. So he plays violin too. I'm gonna go ahead and give him a spoiler, Matt. I'm sure you won't mind. But we actually did. There's an event called Solo Ensemble where you can either go to do a solo performance in front of judges, or you can do a group performance like a duet, a trio, a quartet, a quintet, whichever. But me and him actually did a duet. I don't remember the piece, but we actually got the highest rating, a superior rating, and that's sort of how I met him. We were in the same
That's so cool.
in the same class. It might have been. I think it was 11th grade actually, not 9th. We were in different schools, but I'm pretty sure it was 11th grade. We did that, and then I just started hanging out. His house was sort of like a second family to me, and we just ever since then we just played violin. We ended up playing a lot of Smash Brothers. He'll tell you that too. So going back into fighting games there. So I guess, yeah, violin and fighting games was sort of something that me and him did, back and forth, back and forth.
Hell yeah. Zink, do you stream? Or your
Oh
friend?
yeah, Matt. Yeah, no, he doesn't stream. Well, I'll
Okay.
let him answer for himself, but he doesn't.
Okay. You should. I would definitely like to see if you're
I might
violin
have him on my
streams.
stream. Yeah, I might have a stream with him on it. We can like play a little bit one day, maybe.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be cool. You can redeem that as a channel point, you know?
Yeah, it's like Zane, come over here. We have to play now.
Yeah, gotta hype it up. Gotta hype it up.
Yep, yep, yep.
Vic has a question. Says question
All
for
right.
Ace and host. What tips would you both of you mention towards anyone that's interested in streaming more gameplay? As you both know, it can be completely different having those extra eyes that oppose to yourself on you. Similar to competitive gaming, in your case, Ace, you develop the ability
Right.
to perform in front of many eyes, but
Yeah.
what accoladed your ability to rise above the potential nerves for both of you? You can answer that first, Ace.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just kind of just doing it more repetition. I think I can't remember the exact feelings, but I'm sure during my first couple concerts, I was nervous. But when I first started, thank goodness I didn't have to perform by myself in front of a large audience. I would just do it at solo ensemble in front of a few people. And of course, there were nerves there, but I would just play, and I took it at least semi-seriously to where I wasn't nervous because I didn't know what I was doing, but um, yeah, I think just overall, just doing it more. I performed a lot in like an orchestra, like with
Mm-hmm.
violins, viola, cello, bass. I was in that setting a lot. So there are nerves, but just knowing that you're surrounded by a lot of other people, that kind of takes it down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
I have done solo in front of like a bit of a group before, and of course with that, it's just repetition. And of course, just making sure your piece that you play, make sure you're as prepared as you can. If you have questions, if you have a teacher that's giving you lessons, have them help you, whatever you're preparing for. But yeah, it's literally just doing it more, and just if you have particular like anxiety, like with like social anxiety, you might, I don't know if you have a therapist, or you talk to a mentor, the adults in your life if you're starting young, your teacher, just ask for tips from them as well. But the more you do it, I just feel like you're gonna become more accustomed to it.
Nice, awesome. And to answer that, Vic, long short story. Like I've always loved video games ever since I was a kid, so I would just say if you're getting into this, if you're really passionate about something that you enjoy, it doesn't have to just be, you know, video games, because I know you're talking about gameplay, but it could be related to music or art or anything like that. And for me, I have a huge combination, so I like combine everything kind of together, squish it into like one ball, and I place it over here. Because I'm a thinker, so I'm a really creative person too. So I'm always just thinking and wanted to do things, and I'm very inspired by whatever I see from content creators from all over the world. I have like access to that. I never really had access to that when YouTube first started, because I'm old as well. I don't look old, but I've been here since the beginning of the YouTube days, and watching that, like, I'm like, man, I want to be like them. It took a very long time for me personally, just because um, I like to just not do it out of the whim. I want to prepare and get ready, because I've worked in
Right.
like corporate and agencies my whole life, since I was like
Cool. I
20,
didn't.
yeah, 20 years old as a kid. Well, like for me, like first starting up and not knowing anything and just learning from like marketing, branding, uh, designing, and like all that. And I love that stuff, and I wanted to prepare, and it took me about 3 years to kind of like get ready for Twitch. And and everything. The pandemic really helped. So it was like, oh man, I can't do anything. I have to stay home and do all that stuff. And yeah, I just came up with like a brand identity for me and how I wanted to present myself. And whenever like you guys, you know, come into my channel, especially Ace, he rated me out of a whim, like randomly. I didn't know Ace because I was just playing Streets of Rage. He comes in, he's like, hey, I really like your overlay and your whole style and everything. And I was like, I like that when people say that, because you're like, I can tell he's into retro video games or something like that. And
yeah, I am.
And yeah, that's basically, I would just say, like, overall, it's just really finding your passion. And like we mentioned it earlier when we were talking to Grim, like, play what you feel comfortable playing. You know, because everything's out there, and it could be a lot of peer pressure for you to play a game because everybody's playing it. No, play something that you enjoy and be yourself when you do it too, because they rather feel that natural energy, and they can tell like, oh, he's not really faking anything. This is all that. Because if you're knowledgeable at what you're doing, people like to learn about that, and they're interested. They're like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know about this game, and you'll have a conversation like that. And yeah, hopefully I answered that for you, Vic. That was a really good question for me and Ace. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was yeah, like I literally rated d-Rad, like you said, because it's going Streets of Rage. I just started streaming. I think I was like maybe a few months in and doing it, and then I rated him, and I'm like, yeah, I mean this guy seems pretty cool, and I followed him. But one thing, yeah, even to this day, like I always admire d-Rad about it. He's never outright said it, but I just feel it from what he does. Like when he plays a game, like his intro, his layouts, stuff like that. I feel like he enjoys what he does, and him as a person as well. I just feel like he's someone that hasn't given up his authenticity for likes or authenticity for clout and whatnot. And that's why I always come back to his streams, because I always get that vibe every single time I've come in, and I've told him that. And if you can, going back to the question about the getting into a game, like if you find something you love and find a community that can back you up, or can at least back the game up that you play, that is very close to ideal, if not just absolutely ideal to start with the seed and then just grow your foundation from there.
And thank you, Ace, for the kind words. I really do appreciate it. And it's likewise to you whenever you get to stream. Like, I feel like I know your streaming schedule, because I'm like, he usually streams in the weekends. When I see him, I'm like, oh, there he is, it's Ace. And it's always nice to like catch up with you, because it's like it's the same thing. It's pretty cool that you found me through Streets of Rage, because I actually found like a few more people that like rated over to me because I was playing that game. And it's so cool to have like that like cool interest, like, hey, like a beat 'em up game, because that's what I grew up to as a kid. I love Streets of Rage. But seeing you like in a kind of like a cool like competitive way, like how you're achieving your goals, I really like that. But at the same time, I really like our conversations that we have when I'm on your chat, just about like life and everything, because I like that balance between community members on just like on a social platform. And yeah, I felt like every time I go on your channel, I always felt like I always have really good chats with you. So I appreciate you for just like taking the time to just like say, hey, how's life going, and kind of like that. Then we just chit chat like what's going on, what we want to do, and all that. So appreciate it.
Anytime, I'm always there. Yeah, and that's one cool thing about Twitch too. Like you met other people through Streets of Rage 4, so that got you more introduced to the Streets of Rage 4 community. And then let's say they raid somebody else, and they'll bring you along with them to go to that community. So it's just a lot of transferring to other places where people can find their potential environment that they want online. I feel like that's a nice, like, very generous platform, generous layout, that Twitch has for people, to supplement their lives accordingly.
And once you get that, it starts to build up like slowly, and you're gonna come across, I feel like, you know, like Ace, you're gonna be coming across more people just like me throughout this journey, because you just never know. Even through like when you're competing in tournaments and stuff, they're like, hey man, you're really good at what you do, and they're just like, can I follow you on like social media or anything like that? And yeah, it's really cool. I've come across people like that when I've gone to like anime cons and all that. Like, yeah, just come here, go to my, come over and hang out with the punk squad and stuff. And like, because the thing is, like, I just love to introduce other people to, you know, other people through my community if they don't know you and stuff. Because you know,
Right.
I rather like have it as like a, you know, for everybody to check out everybody's different content. But at the same time, you know, it's always about like the personality, the vibes, and everything. And once they feel it out there, like, you know what, I want to give him a shot. I want to go hang out his channel and do all that. So
Yeah, like it's just it all goes back to like I think people just can innately tell, you know, more so than not whether someone's intent is one way or it's another way, you know. And of course, I sense that your intent is one way, and that's why I keep coming back. Some people are all about, you know, people that have the biggest clout, people that are, you know, popular and they do stuff just to, you know, cover hot topics and stuff versus, I mean, not saying that people that cover that kind of information aren't genuine, but I mean, it's a known fact that there's people in that kind of a scope that you know, you might sense a little lack of authenticity from those people. They're just sort of dedicating themselves to whatever's hot at the moment. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, just if you love what you do, I feel like that is more attractive than not enjoying what you do.
Yeah, yeah, always stay true to yourself till the very end. And I've been that since I was a kid, and never changed.
Yeah, I always said that. I could sense that. Of course, I feel like whatever your upbringing is, if there's bullies at school, if there's family members, you know, don't agree with a certain decision you made, it can be hard to stick to being yourself.
Yeah,
So whoever makes it to adulthood and they can maintain that, major props to them. And even
yeah,
let's say people lose their way and they get swayed into a certain direction because they've been peer pressured to do it. I'm just glad there's platforms like Twitch that exist. So if someone never forgets what they're really into, if it happens to be gaming, happens to be music, they can come across someone and they might find that reconnection to who they really are in terms of gaming or music or community. You know, I feel like Twitch is a good place to sort of be that reminder for people that lost their way, if that platform's overall content is something that a person like that would connect with.
yeah, that is so true. I felt like in a long time I've not played like a full video game until I started streaming on Twitch in 2020, and that feeling, because you know, I'm a retro video game collector, and I was kind of like that, you know, just find games that I'm very interested in, you know, have them part of my collection, you know, play them a little, but not like the full game and stuff. And ever since I started streaming on Twitch, like I had that feeling back inside of me where like when I was a kid, when I beat a game, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And just like achieving like all these like points, or even revisiting some old games I used to play as a kid and then just show everybody, you know, like, this is my childhood, guys, I'll tell you a story about it and everything. And they're just like, yo, this is my childhood too. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And you get that, you know, you get that like
A good feeling.
yeah, that good feeling. You have that relation to that other streamer that used to play it, then you just like kind of vibe out off of that, and you know, it's really cool. So I don't know how many games I beat, but I have them a list on my website. They have to be like maybe like 60 or 70 already on stream that I beat, and it's pretty cool because everybody gets to see the journey of it. They're like, I was part of it when you beat this game. I'm like, yeah, it was really cool, thank you so much for being, you know, in this. And you know, like when you stream, I think I was part of like when you like one of your Streets of Rage where you hit a record and you're like, hey, I did it. I'm like, oh man, this is awesome, cool scene.
Yeah, it's just the involvement in, like, when I think about it more, it's sort of modernizing the tradition of like sort of like a younger sibling watching you play a game, or like a family member watching you play a game, or a friend watching you play a game. It's just sort of modernizing it to where like multiple people can watch you play a game across the world, and it's not just limited to your household. So I always find that interesting, the evolution of that tradition, just people watching someone play a game and then
Mhm.
and just basking in the experience, like the negative and the positive, you know.
Yeah, that just still amazes me. It's just as around the world. I just always think it's like, oh, the people
Well,
only watching me from the United States, but I'm like, no. People all over the world, they'll come across, they're like, hey, I'm from here. I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
yeah, it's also related. Going back to tournaments, like it's the same with tournaments too. Like there are people I only knew about, like from Tekken Zaibatsu or whatever online forum I was in. Then I would go to a tournament and meet them. It's like, hey, I'm so and so. I'm like, oh, nice to meet you. And then you have conversation about Tekken or whatever you're playing. It's pretty cool, just like talking with someone online for it could be years, it could be months, and then you actually meet them in person. And then you go your separate ways, and you go back to online. You have that image of them in your head, and you might end up meeting up, going to another tournament, another event. Like it's just community building, and some would even consider doing networking that way. But just like the natural, just genuine act of meeting someone in online and then meeting them in person and then maintaining friendships within the community or personally, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would say that that'd be my favorite part of streaming, because I went to TwitchCon last year, and developing friendships with people online for I would never imagine or picture that this was gonna happen, you know. And ever since like in 2020 that developed for 2 years, and you're like, hey, are you all going to TwitchCon? I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot, go over there and see what it's all about. And that was one of the coolest things ever. I had so much fun, and seeing all the people that you develop like this relationships with, and they're exactly the same how they are on stream, which is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, that's always good when it matches up, and it's like, yeah, this is how they are when you just can read words on a screen, and then you see how they are. It's like, yep, this matches. I've never been to TwitchCon, but I do want to go at one point. I definitely have to, considering I stream on Twitch. I feel obligated.
Oh yeah, one of these days, because I know that's always going to be here. So yeah, if they have a gathering like that, it's really cool. It's really cool. So to anybody that, oh, what's up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I know there's one. I think there's one in Vegas this year, unless it already happened.
Oh yeah, that's happening in October. So that's
Oh, it's in October.
yeah.
I might actually be able, if I can keep my finance straight, I might be able to make that happen. I think the other one is in what, Paris, France?
Yeah,
if
I
I'm
think
not
that
mistaken.
one just happened. Not I think last week. I think yeah, but the one
Yeah, I figured that was the earlier one. Yeah.
hmm yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Ace. It just depends on the finance and everything if I can go and stuff. But Vegas is like my second home, so my parents live over there,
Yeah,
so I don't mind like going over there to just hang out with my parents, then go to TwitchCon and everything. So
Oh, your parents live there. Nice.
yep,
They still live there.
yep, they still live there. They've been living there for
Hey, you
like
never know.
6 years.
Nice. Yeah, you never know. You might end up linking up there if I decide to go or if I can go. You never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I keep it like I always like, man, I'm debating still if I should go to Evo or not. But it's finance and everything, so it's either Evo or TwitchCon for me. So I
Yeah,
have
I mean,
to,
I'm already signed up for Evo, and that's before. So if I can somehow get to TwitchCon in October, I will. But I can't make any promises.
yeah, no worries. It's always gonna be here. I always say. Zinc, your friend has a question. It says, "What's your favorite solo violinist besides Hilary Hahn, also poster?" Question
My
mark.
gosh, you had to ask that question, didn't you? Well, despite what the question says, my favorite solo violinist is Hilary Hahn. If I had to pick another one, it might be a violinist from back in the 20th century. The first one that comes to mind, I'd have to say Christian Farrar. Just something about his sound, just very, very genuine. Very like he really digs into his emotions with whatever he plays. Very, very emotional journey. Um, Poster. I don't know if I mean, maybe I should show the poster. So the poster that Matt is referring to, um, so it has Hillary Hahn on it. She's my favorite solo violinist of all time. It's just like her intent, like her interpretation with every piece she plays. It's awesome. Very technically sound. Very intentional violinist. But the poster has a picture of her on it that's kind of comical, and I don't know, like should I show it? It's just about Hillary Hahn, like
Yeah, show
Matt
it
or
off.
Zink. Yeah, Zink has this likes to make fun of how long her neck is, so he put a picture of a I think it was a bronchiosaurus next to
Oh
her.
no.
And yeah, see, it's a product of Zank's mind, like what he finds comical. So I can show it. I feel like it's safe to show. I'll go ahead and like. There's also a couple Easter eggs in there. Also, at least one Easter egg that you all might recognize. Hold on.
Okay, cool.
Oh my gosh. Can't leave him out to show this. Let me get it all prepped. Oh gosh, I'm actually doing this. Right, this is all for you, Matt. So there's Hillary Hahn. It's a still of her in a video, and he took a picture of it.
Yeah.
There's the dinosaur.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wait,
then
let's see.
I'm sure you all know who this is. It's Cisco.
I was like
from
gonna
a
say
very
Cisco. What
popular-
the?
Yeah, Cisco. Yeah, very R&B singer. He did the very popular thong song. There's violins in that.
Yeah.
That might be the most inappropriate part of this, but yeah. So it's all violin related. So this is all a product of Zank 200's mind. You're very welcome, Zank. And he got me this blown up version of it for my birthday. It's pretty funny. So if I've ruined anyone's eyes, I am very sorry, but he insisted and d-Rad said it was okay.
Yeah.
So.
How come you didn't frame it?
Yeah, I think I'll just leave it rolled up and I'll pull it out at times like this when it's requested to be shown. I'll leave it at that.
That was so random, but
Very, very random, right? Right, Zane? That was very random.
But you love to see it. You love to see it. I gotta
Yeah,
listen to her. I've never heard of her until you told me.
She's in her, like, I think her early to mid 40s now. She's been playing since she was like 3 or 4 years old. She's been playing her whole life. She's very good. It's just, I mean, there's the technical sound, but it's just like with like her intelligence and her wisdom, like what she puts into a piece. Like, I'm not saying that she's better than anyone, but it's just the fact that she pays so much attention to how it's interpreted and what the composer wanted. She pays attention to all that stuff, and you can hear it. And like her playing's really clean. There's always something to be interpreted. It's not too stale. Yeah, Hillary Hahn's very good. Like her most recent album, I don't know how familiar everyone here is with violin composers. There's a composer named Eugène Ysaÿe. I believe he was a French composer. He did 6 sonatas for solo violin. Some of the most challenging violin pieces ever written. But in the way, I haven't heard the whole album yet, but she's done singles for it. She did not disappoint. They're very good. So, but just type in Hillary Hahn, like her discography is humongous. Just listen to anything from her and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay, cool. Definitely, yeah, after the stream, I'll put up some of her music.
Yeah, you might find something new that you're hooked on as far as the playing. Like it's very good. Like even when she was younger, like just like I feel like her wisdom from such a young age is to where she is now. It's just it's amazing. There's lots of video, there's lots of audio. Just feel free to binge if you wish. If you ever go down that rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of violinists ever since Twitch, because I got introduced to so many musicians, and most of the streamers that I follow here are mostly violinists.
I think I think his name is String Violin Gamer. I think you introduced me to him. He's the guy that does your outro, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, that's my friend Alud. She's a violin, but String Player Gamer. He's like big like on the YouTubes and stuff. And yes, he's a friend on the stream, and he also trolls me. He's probably listening to this. And he's like, "Ah ha ha, d-Rad, I'm gonna put something on here." But yeah, really cool, great dude. Yeah, I did introduce you to him. Cool. Speaking of music, what's your favorite? What do you like to play on the violin? Do you have like a favorite piece that you kind of like go to, and kind of like you learned it, and you're just like, oh man, I could just play this like forever. So do you have one?
Well, I mean, I guess one thing I'll mention as well, I have what some call relative pitch, might even call perfect pitch. So I can listen to something and sort of piece the notes together. So so through that method, I played a lot of different music, just learning it just by ear. But if I had to pick a piece, like the first one that comes to my head is I don't know the full thing. This is me playing it by ear, but the second movement of Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto in, I believe it's E minor. Yeah, it's in E minor. Just like it's a slower movement, but I just like that melody, and I like the different tones, tone colors it goes through. So I could probably play it long enough to where people get the gist or it's entertaining enough. But yeah, that's what comes to mind at first. But I do like I can do video game pieces. My first violin transposition / interpretation. That's what I do on my YouTube channel was from Super Mario 64. When you go to the level with the pirate ship and you go. But even when you go underwater as well, the piece evolves. So that was my very first video. That's my most popular video. It's old. I've gotten most reception off of that. It's called Dire Dire Docks by Koji Kendo. That's a composer from Super Mario 64. That was my favorite. It was just like I remember doing so many takes of that, and I still have them saved on my old camera. That was my first piece that I did for my YouTube. But that would be like the video game piece I would pick as far as just going I could go to.
Okay, awesome. I know I'm close of my channel points to redeem a violin session on your channel.
Hey, go for it whenever you want to redeem.
I usually I'm a big saver, so I was like, hey, maybe I could save a little bit more so I could redeem it 2 times whenever I come back.
I believe it's at 15,000 channel points, if I'm not mistaken, right now. If I get a lot of requests in the end, I might have to raise it up, but right now I feel like 15,000 is a good place. I believe it's at 15,000.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm hoping in the near future. Do you plan to do anything on your YouTube channel to produce more music?
Yeah, I guess this is a good time for me to sort of mention a bit of what I've been going through. I have all this intent to keep producing content, but it's just like I've been well, yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about it. So I made a post in my Discord about trying to meet fitness goals and whatnot. And I'd always been trying to maintain fitness goals ever since I was back in my teens. And that's sort of what's been slowing me down. I ended up getting a job to where it wasn't exactly. I mean, I'm a pharmacy technician. I'm a certified pharmacy technician.
Okay.
I mean, it was in the field that I wanted, but as far as the hours, I didn't find out about it until toward when it was going to happen. It was full time, 40 hours. I wanted to do more of a part time / 32-hour thing, which would still be full time, 32 hours. But I feel like with that job, I didn't have a lot of time to do what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some stuff that went on at that particular building that, kind of getting personal. There was, there was some people that were a little less than high quality, less than moderate quality, I would say, that, were there, and things were said, things were done, and, it kind of brought some stress to my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I gained a little bit of weight from that. So just trying to, come to terms with the fact that I've been behind on fitness goals. I feel like I realized over time that I haven't been diagnosed by a doctor with this, but I feel like I have a bit of body dysmorphia. If you all know what that is, it's just kind of where you are focused on a particular feature of your body, and you're trying to cope with it or do things to make it better. In my case, I'm just glad that, I don't consider myself out of shape. It's just a matter of, getting the time and just doing it. That's sort of what's been slowing me down as far as the content creation. I have a lot of ideas. I want to get back to my violin channel, get back to the violin streams, but in general or overall, I things have been getting better. I've sort of been coming to not to terms, but been learning more about this particular issue I've been having. I've technically had it since I was in like high school, but I didn't even think of anything of it. It wasn't like a big thing. It wasn't even as prominent as it is now. But I learned more about it. It's easy to keep under control, and I have strong faith that I'll be getting back to my content ideas and whatnot.
Yeah, and I always just say this too. you know, we're young. We gotta take advantage of our youth.
No, yes, indeed.
There's a lot of time for us to be able to do that, and knowing yourself too. Because I always think of like what I've always been diagnosed with, like, but I haven't gone to a doctor, but I know myself, because I feel like I have a learning disability where it takes me a while, but I will focus on the things that I will like. But everything just, this is what's bad about being a creative person because you have so much things in your mind, right? And I'm just like, oh man, I have to do all these all at once. And I don't know how to balance those. And I'm learning though. I'm learning, through great friends. Yeah, through great friends, therapy sessions I've been in, and just being surrounded by really good people, And
it's great to have that. I'm glad you have it.
Yep. And just being able to that's knowing yourself that this is what I know I have, even without a doctor's diagnosis or anything, and working on what you want to improve is really good to know, because I don't for me, I have a daily planner and I'm writing things down. Not everything all at once. What I'm going to do today and get it done. The most important parts, because I don't categorize them as important. Everything's important. But what's the first one I need to get done, And I feel like that's a way, even through I feel you on a busy work schedule, man. That's a lot to handle. And I always say if you have at least 1 to 2 hours that won't stress you out so much, that can be something that you can do, you can be able to get it done, especially if you have the days off. For me, I always take advantage whenever I don't work. I'm always just working and just getting things how I want it. So it's slowly getting there, but I see the progress and I'm really happy about that, because
you should be, definitely. Any little bit of time, whether it's like slow steps, as they say, slowly but surely. I'm just glad I'm in a spot now where I'm at a steady 30 to 32 hours, so I have that extra 8 hours that I didn't have back in
nice.
what 2019 to 2021, middle of 2021. So I have that now. I have my ideal situation. It's just with the issue that I have is sometimes I'll have the intent, but with the, I guess you could say, disorder, sometimes I'll be so focused on trying to, deal with whatever issues I have. It's by the time I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable enough to move on with the day, I'll be sort of exhausted physically.
Yeah.
And that sort of defeats the purpose. So I'm just glad I'm at a point now where I know how to control how productive I'm going to be, in terms of just realizing it's not as bad as it might seem. And just pushing through, and to the point where I'm not tired and I can just do it. I have made a recent breakthrough, and I'm pretty proud of myself too. You're proud of yourself. I mean, I'm glad we can sort of revel in our pride and our triumph, or at least eventual complete triumph over what we're going through.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna give you lots of biscuit energy for you, because I 100% believe in you. That you're able to get most of your your healthy goals done, and your musical or music content or video game content, whatever you want to produce, done, because that I really like that within people, when they're just man, I just need time to do this and that, and I'm really happy that you see the progress. That's awesome. Really proud of you.
I appreciate it. We're proud of us. There we go.
There you go. Proud of us, and I'm proud of everybody on chat too. If you have something going on in your lives and you want to accomplish it, you know, you can do it. You can do it, because you might be sidetracked a little bit, but you know, if you have like those hour breaks, go for it. Just do it. You'll see progress. What was I talking about? I was talking to, I think, a friend about it. Oh yeah, my coworker about this. So, I talked about productivity. I can't say it, but product being productive, and every day when I wake up in the morning, because it's just ingrained to my head, because my mom taught me, is to make my bed. And did you know, if you make your bed in the morning, you don't know how much things that you're gonna accomplish, even if they're small or big, because you accomplish one thing in your day, is just making your bed.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a cool way to sort of instill, you know, productivity with something that simple. You know, at least you got that done, and that seed will be there for the future. It seems like, if you want to get other things done.
Yeah, I always think about that. I'm like, okay, I made my bed. Okay, I brushed my teeth. What am I gonna do today to get like some small projects done? Look at the planner, then let's see. And yeah, it's real cool. It doesn't happen like I always make my bed every day, but it's like, if I'm working on something big, I'm like, oh man, I don't think if I could get that done. But if I start on it slowly, that's okay to do. But if I start with the small projects and get them done, that's good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And going back to talking about like gaming, as far as whatever you want to do, no matter how long it takes, whatever small steps you have to take, you know, that goes with pretty much anything, and that's with gaming or getting started in music, streaming, whatever it is. You know, not everyone has the same situations or predispositions in life. You just take what you got. Sometimes it takes getting to a better situation, like a new environment. Just to know that there's people, especially on Twitch, you know, like we're on right now, that have gone through things, and we're comfortable about talking about said things. And you know, Twitch is a good place to just meet people, different kinds of people. And the way that Twitch has their platform set up, you know, it's definitely set up to where a lot of people can mesh together, and people can like sort of shop for, I don't like using the word shop, but sort of shop or find the community or a group of people that fits them to, you know, boost their lives that much more.
Yeah, 100% agree. There's people here that been here since the beginning. When I first started, whenever I see them, I always like to give them their flowers, because I call them day oneers. I'm like, man, y'all been here since day one. And I tell them, I appreciate you guys so much for still being here, and just like taking the time, just like out of your like morning, afternoon, evening, just like hanging out. And because that makes me really happy that I was, you know, able to find like really cool people, you know. And you know, that's why, you know, you were saying that I keep coming to your stream, because I like your vibes. You know, that's the same thing with you and other people, because I feel that naturalness within a human being, and I really like that. And you know, they're doing.
Appreciate it.
Yep. And,
I feel the same way about you too. You know that for sure.
And yeah, and I like, for me, I was just like, man, I just want to keep the ball rolling on this until I can't do this no more, because I don't know how many other awesome people like I'll meet, just like you, Ace, through the community.
You never know. It's just like, considering just how connected the world is now with the internet, it's you really don't know. And I hope that whenever I get as big as you on Twitch, I'll remember to give a shout out to my day oneers for sure. I definitely can see myself doing it, but I mean, I have a small following. I mean, I'm gonna keep this going, and especially as I overcome my adversity, I intend on moving on and keep making content and just building my community for those that want, or those that want to come see me, those that are interested in my my content, those that want to stick around because they've witnessed it. I'm curious to see how it's going to unfold. I mean, I'm going to stick around for at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, and just take your time. Take your time. I always say, there's no rush on this. Because you still, like with the job and everything. Because whatever I always say is important, you have to do that first. Because
Oh yeah.
I always have to put streaming as kind of like second, because I have to do what
Oh
it's
yeah.
in my life right now. I have to do in IRL. Then like if I see something going, then I could pursue it, and I'm slowly trying to do that. That's why it's like with
Process.
Vic he asked us earlier, like about like content creation and like streaming and stuff, and that's like kind of like my plan that I'm gonna be doing and stuff, and I'm sure you have the same way you're doing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. I really appreciate it. Zinc, aka Matt, appreciate it. Thank you.
Think with the representation, like representing the stream, supporting the stream.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm at a point now, like I said before, where I have the hours that I want. I'm in a better environment than I was before with the company I work for.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like everything is set. I just need to overcome adversity. It's just sort of a testament to how life can go in a general way. You overcome one thing and then there's another.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, all we can hope is, or the main thing I hope for, is that it amounts to having as close to the ideal life that I want, or perhaps the ideal life that I want. And I can feel it heading in that direction. So.
Yeah, I feel it too. Like when you got back from Evo, you told us kind of like the results of that. I'm just like, man, is he like? That's pretty good that you ranked up. Tell the people what were you ranked in Tekken and Street Fighter.
Tekken, I was kind of, more disappointed in, but I still did pretty good. How many people were at Evo this year? I got 65th out of, I think it was a little over 800 people,
Yep.
and then I got top eight. I got top 8 out of 100 in Ultra Street Fighter 4. So
Yeah.
I usually place, like above the middle, but just considering what I told y'all about the body dysmorphia, that even affects that. So I'm just glad. It's terrible when you go to an event and that you're as good as you are, but something can hold you back physically, and
Yep.
it has been painful from time to time. But I'm just glad that I've learned things about it, and I'll eventually get to a point where I don't have to deal with it anymore.
Yep.
I just need to meet my goals. I have goals that are not like super ambitious, but they're ambitious enough to where I can, function and not have to worry about that kind of thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah, that's a good mindset to have. Every time when you compete in like just any type of tournament, you do get better and better because you're learning from like, what could I done to do this? I feel like I'm always like that just as a creative person, because I'm just like, okay, what can I do to one up what I did last time, even though it was really good. Because I'm just like, I have all these resources, I can make it come to life, and I love doing that. It's not like I'm forced or anything. I love doing the stuff that I do, and I can tell that from you too, as you're a passionate competitor in esports. Is that considered, you would be called an esports, right? Esports athlete.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
Yep.
I know there's I guess you could say bigger scenes in the fighting game community, but yeah, we're definitely in esports territory more so than ever. Just to give a quick figure, like Street Fighter 6 that just came out. Capcom Cup is the tournament that does like international competition for Street Fighter. Last year at Capcom Cup for Street Fighter 5, there was a prize pool. Like first place got like $120,000, and I think there was another 100-some thousand split between second and 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still can't believe I'm saying this. It's still kind of surreal. Like Street Fighter 6 for Capcom Cup, first place literally, like the prize is 1 mil for first, and then another mil split between second and 16th place. So that's like a huge monumental jump. And the sales for Street Fighter 6 have like matched. Like this game, I love Street Fighter 6. It's really good. The music's great. I mean, the system is it's the hardest Street Fighter that has existed in my opinion, because all the systems that you have to remember, the learning curve. But it's also really fun. It's got a lot of content, but yeah, it's just esport. We're definitely in esports territory. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that is amazing. Oh my gosh, 1 mil.
Yeah, when I first heard it, I didn't think we were gonna get to this point for another decade, if that, But here we are.
Yeah, it's crazy. I love to tell people that don't know about like esports, because I've been kind of like in the because we worked with a client kind of like in the beginning in our state that was bringing esports with the first time when that was getting really popular. So it was cool kind of seeing from like the start to what it is right now, because
Yeah,
like
big jumps.
because the one that you went to last year that was in Las Vegas, the esports
Right,
arena in the HyperX sports
Right.
arena, they didn't have that. They didn't have that like 4 years, 5 years ago until they open it up. And it's so big that when you guys go to the Las Vegas Strip, you see that pyramid. That's dedicated to the esports. Like with fighting games, first person shooters, and like all that. That's so cool. And like
Yeah, I didn't get to walk the strip, but I'll look out for that pyramid for sure.
yeah, that's where they like have like the like yeah, if you ever get to go like because you said you're going to Evo this year, if you ever get to
Yeah.
go, I think it's free. Check out the after party because they have a fight club and people play Marvel versus Capcom 2. I think they still have it against each other. And me, my friend, he took me to it. He's like, dude, you're gonna love this. They put in a big screen and we're all just watching them play Marvel versus Capcom 2 in like kind of like a tournament. And like just seeing that on that screen, because that's my childhood. I grew up to playing Marvel versus Capcom 2.
Oh yeah, MVC2. I used to button mash on that game like when I was young.
Yeah, and I was like, nah, we're all cheering like, woo, like this is awesome. And like,
Yeah, that kind of environment's awesome. I remember you told me about the Marvel too, like any high level, like high level Marvel, like any time of day, like I will, like if it's high level, I will sit and watch like a whole tournament. Like it's so fun to watch. I love it.
yeah, oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, so if you ever get the chance, feel free to check it out this year and stuff because it's really cool.
I'll be getting there earlier than I usually do, so I think I'll have some time to definitely walk the strip. So I'll definitely look out for that.
Yeah, definitely check it out during the night because during the day, it's just so freaking hot out, and you don't get to see all the cool lights and everything. Oh man,
Yeah, at night, I remember walking the strip when I went to Vegas for the first time. And I think I was 11 or 12.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the heat waves, and I was really thirsty.
Yeah.
And even when I went last year, I remember just that sun was beaming down. And I need to get
it's crazy. Yeah, you got to stay inside the hotels and everything. But at during the evenings, not too bad and stuff.
Yeah, the nights are better, so much better compared to the days. No sun, so
yeah,
much better.
I think my friend's gonna. What are you competing this year in Evo?
Tekken 7 again. I'll be doing my first Street Fighter 6 major at the biggest fighting game tournament in the world. I mean, the game is barely a month old, and I'm not gonna be upset more than likely. But I know that I've been putting a lot of time and I've been grinding that game, so I expect to do adequately well. I might not get like a top 8. I mean, remember Evo is an international event, but but it's the first month of the game for everyone, so you literally never know. I'm just gonna keep grinding it until Evo, and we'll just see where I get.
Hell yeah, awesome. And are you also doing Street Fighter 6?
No, yeah, that was a Street Fighter 6 I was mentioning. I'm also doing Tekken 7.
Okay, cool, awesome.
This might be the last Evo for Tekken 7 because there's going to be a closed beta for Tekken 8 this month. And I signed up for it. I mean, I applied for it. Hopefully, I get into it. Considering I am someone call me a top player. Hopefully, from that alone I get involved in that. But I think that Tekken 8 is either going to come out late this year or sometime next year. Considering we're in beta phase, just about.
Yeah, I see it maybe late this year or maybe early next year. That's what I see it coming. Cool.
Yep, I agree. They haven't given a release date yet, but I know how Namco is. They make Tekken. Tekken usually takes a little bit little bit to come out.
Awesome. I have my IRL friend. He's gonna be going to Evo. He's gonna be competing in Street Fighter 6. He's been labbing on it, and I told him about you. I was like, if you ever come across a guy named AceUnlimited, go say what up to him. It's like d-Rad sent you.
Yeah. What's his gamer tag, or do you know his gamer tag?
I don't know his gamer tag, but my friend's name is like Alvin. I'm gonna show him the podcast. I'm like, hey, if you ever come across Ace, tell him say what up.
Yeah. Feel free. If I come across and someone says their name's Alvin, I'm like, d-Rad. That's who he's connected with.
Yeah, because he plays a lot of the fighting games and stuff too. So he's really cool. He's the one that introduced me to Evo and kind of like got me like checking out like the whole place and everything. Even though I was a spectator, I still freaking loved it. I watched him play Street Fighter. I was watching him play Dragon Ball, and I'm just like, man, this is really cool. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, especially at Evo, if like you were a first timer, you know, even as you do it more, it's just the environment, especially as you get closer to the finals. It's pretty fun.
Mandalay Bay is so fun once you get to get into arena and stuff. That's so cool to just be part of, and hopefully you get to be part of that too, where you can be in that stage in front of everybody and compete.
Yeah, I didn't go to the arena last year, but I'll definitely aim to do it this year. I think I'll be good as far as time off to do that.
Yeah, definitely check it. It's just so cool. Let's see here.
I believe you. I've watched it on stream all these years. I'm sure it'll be even cooler to be there in person.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, your friend here, Zinc, has a question. He says, I have a question for Ace. Your fighting style is different and has been considered lame and other derogatory terms. How does this affect your gameplay and more so your mentality during professional matches?
I mean, this is true. I mean, in the fighting community, there's playing lame and there's playing aggressive or rush down. I guess lame can be looked at as like an insult, but you know, it's just part of how the community has coined it. But I mean, in Tekken and Street Fighter, I've been criticized for how I play both my characters, but in the end, you know, it's effective. And I've heard people on commentary for tournaments that I've been in say that, you know, I don't follow popular norms as far as how to play a character. I mean, because the best way I can describe it is when we first start playing a game when we're younger, well, maybe more so when I was growing up, you and I were growing up. You don't really look to see how someone else is playing. You just play the game, right?
Yeah,
that's sort of how I look at it. That's how I've always been my whole life. And, you know, I feel like I guess your introduction to competitive games came later, or if it just wasn't, you know, if it didn't come from a place of self-belief or I guess self-confidence, you know, you might play in a way that, oh, I need to do this so I can be good. You know, I guess I always have that confidence about myself to where however I play and however I figure out things, it'll work out. So I have faced quite a bit of adversity as far as how I play, but in the end, I just know that it's effective and I've proven it's effective. So at first, when I first started doing it, it was slightly a bit discouraging, but I knew deep down that I didn't have a big need for social acceptance, so I just kept going about. And you know I was in a tournament the other day and someone mentioned, or I was one of the competitors, and he knew who I was and he said, you know, this guy has a really unique play style. He's a pioneer of a certain some certain tech in Tekken. Like he was describing me like he just knew that I, you know, did things a certain way. And not that I'm trying to be different or anything. I just play how I want. I'm not afraid to, you know, incorporate what I want into my gameplay, because in the end, it's what you're doing. It's not somebody else. You're playing for you in the end.
Yep, that's true. Not in this world. You can't please everybody. Cannot please everybody. Everybody has a different style, like you mentioned. And if you know how to win, you go for it. You go for it.
Yeah. If you're winning, if people criticize you for what you do, but yet it's working, it's like something's not adding up there. It's like, why does it matter what the person has to say if it's working and you're pulling out wins and it's working. I mean, yeah, I mean, I explain to people like why do I do like I'm doing right now, but in the end, I'm not going to change it. You know, for one, it's me being authentic, like we talked about earlier, being
Yep.
authentic. And if you love what you do, I feel like that's just that's very ideal for a happy life in terms of living with your inner desires versus external desires, like society and what they want for you. Some people live their lives like that, to where they base their lives off of what's hot and what the hit thing is to do versus the introspective thing that which is your own internal desires. And some people can successfully mix the two, but I'm more on the side of being introspectively authentic.
Hmm. No, I appreciate that. That's a good answer to that. And yeah, never change. Keep being yourself. Do you,
That,
and keep learning from everything that you've learned from your past. Because if you see flaws within your skills that you want to change for you, and because you're watching still like a little bit of the professionals play because you want to get in that level.
oh
But
yeah,
it's like when you're cooking stuff, you're like that. You're the chef. You're gonna be the one that's creating the ingredients how you want to, and it's gonna be good because you have like kind of like that recipe that you want. That's why you need to ingrain into your style of
yeah.
playing. That's
I feel
cool.
like it's I feel like it's more rewarding in it. I feel like it's more rewarding in the um in the what's the word I'm looking for, in the ways of, if you do you and you respect yourself and you do what you want, like how you feel, versus just sort of doing what everybody else is doing. Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to be as unique and I guess as amazing as it could be if you or as if you do it by your not all by yourself. I mean, we all need a little help every now and then, but of
Hmm.
course with me, I started off, I did my research, people gave me tips, but I'm at a point now where I just kind of just do like a full independent thing, and I don't really seek a lot more. I've been doing this for a long time, and I just sort of just stick with my ship and just keep the flag going. But yeah, it's just if it's a recipe, especially if it's you and you use your creativity, and if it actually turns out to be something that tastes amazing or is like tastes amazing and it has health benefits, if you did that and you put your thought, that's something that you did. No one can take that away from you when it comes to the foundation.
Hmm. That's 100%. I like that. Because we this goes into kind of relation like with where you talk about working out and stuff and being healthy. I learned to work out how I want to. I felt like the people that were like trying to teach me how to work out, for example, wasn't that kind of right fit because I was like, man, you don't know my body like this, and I like told myself,
Yeah,
you know what, I'm just gonna kind of just do how that's right for me. I want to feel good. And I was able to like do that. I'm like, wow, I like cardio. I like doing this a little bit more. I like to lift a little bit light, but at the same time, it's just the right for me because I'm still building muscle and all that. Um,
yeah,
because the thing is like it's there's nothing wrong at all for just taking advice or anything because you get to learn from that. Like, oh, it doesn't work out for me. What can I learn that's good for you? And that's why we come
right.
across with.
It's your workout plan that it's tailored to you versus just doing what might work to a certain degree. But if you can make it work to it'll be faster results.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it'll just be something that you can take at your pace,
Yep.
despite what anyone else wants you to do. I think that just the biggest adversity of being happy in life, I feel, is just dealing with things external from your inner desires, or rather people that don't have an insight into what your inner desires are and can truly understand. It's just a matter of making that decision. It is a decision whether you want to you know choose to be confident and choose to be prideful of what your inner desires are, what your intent is, and face whatever adversity comes your way. You know, that can be hard, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel very rewarded for the path that I've taken, and I'm going to keep going. I've proven that what I do, this is in terms of competitive gaming, what I do is effective, despite how unorthodox, some people have called it unorthodox, but how unorthodox it is compared to popular standards.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see here. Zink says, so more specifically, how does Ace keep themselves real and not fall into peer pressure or into the pressure of others or the current meta? With all pressure around right and wrong, Ace seems to have considerably amount of resistance to the current.
Uh, yes, exactly. I over time, going back to what you were bringing up about performance and how you get used to that, it's just repetition. Once you have your game plan, once you have, you know, what your mentor is telling you, or you know what your parents telling you, your teachers telling you, or what ideas you've concocted for yourself, it's just it's a test. You know, you have to, you know, maybe you won't come across much resistance based on what you decide for yourself. Maybe what you do is in line with some popular norms, or your maybe what you do is not. I feel like the more different you are, I'm sure a lot of you have heard this before, the more different that you are, you know, the harder it's going to be for you to live or lead an ideal life. That's just how it is. Because I feel like it's easy. It's almost just like, um, it's human nature. It's like primitive human nature to just like not be able to understand at first glance what someone, like why someone does what they do. But of course, the older you get, the more insightful you get. It becomes easier. But I think the younger you are, you're gonna look at something and be like, oh, like this is different than how I do. Why are they doing it
Yeah.
like this? And I just think with those kinds of questions, we can come that much closer to, you know, living in a more ideal, more peaceful world, like being able to ask those questions and stick to it. And of course, some people get criticized for asking questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like being considerate is helpful. But as far as getting like dealing with the current, it's a test. You have to, if people say something, are you gonna crumble under the pressure, or are you gonna realize that you know you don't have to give into the pressure, whether you have people, a good community by your side, or if you have that wherewithal within yourself to deal with it. It's literally a test. You know, are you gonna live a life that you want for yourself, or are you gonna have more external components outside of your life
Mm-hmm.
and influence your lifestyle slash quality of life. It's just how resilient you are towards whatever unique test comes in your life.
Yep. I like that. I like that a lot. Um,
It can be tough,
yeah.
but just you know, it's always a choice. You can give up or seek help to help you with what you really want, or you can just keep going.
Mm-hmm. And that's just like because you're talking about when you're younger, you don't know like kind of like any better. Because I felt like that when I was a young kid until like, to be honest, until like I reached my 30s, I started
Hmm.
to kind of like understand like aspects like who I am. Like I never really loved myself, so I told myself, "Oh man, I gotta really love myself because I'm not respecting the other people like around me, especially the people that I'm close with. Because you know you never want to lose the ones that love you, right?
Right,
And
I agree.
and because they give you so much like free knowledge, so much that unconditional love, and when you're just like, because nothing's going wrong, yeah, I mean nothing's going right, and you're just like
Mhm.
so upset about it and everything, and you're just like everything just boggles it right in because everything you never really had like expression to really say it, and that's why like you know talking about like you know like you said you know finding some people to be surrounded with, um, therapy, or the biggest thing is overcoming it to yourself. And you know, once we get older, just in its perspective, like for me, I feel like I feel like it's going really fast. Like I'm getting old, and like
life in general you feel is going fast?
Yeah, it's just because sorry to be kind of like a down at the dumps here, but
No, no,
uh,
no. If that's how you feel, that's good. I don't think it's necessarily a negative thing.
yeah,
I mean, I feel like it's going fast for me too. Especially just once you get into a routine and you find ways to get through the day quickly. Time can just fly just like that. So, but
yeah.
yeah, but back to what you were saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no worries, no worries. But I was just saying to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, because my grandma, she's from Philippines. She passed away. She was my last,
My
my last.
condolences.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. And I was just like, I don't have any grandparents anymore. I realized that. I was like, whoa. And the thing is, like, because thankfully my mom and dad were here, so I was able to spend a lot of family time with them. And
That's
just
good.
like really just talking to them just about life. I would never talk about stuff like with them about certain things that like I want to accomplish, what I want to see them before they're gone in this world. Because I'm just like, yeah, they're getting older too, really old, and I'm like, I'm getting to that point too, but I'm still young. My dad always reminds me, take advantage of your youth because you're gonna
Right.
do as much as you can. As yourself, you want to succeed in everything, and yeah, you just get that realization of just doing as much as you can to accomplish as goals, as for like careers, but most importantly, like as a human being. It's pretty cool because I got to learn about like all like my what my grandparents did, especially like my grandma that lived in the States here. I got to know everything. I like went to visit her pretty much like every weekend when she was here until she passed away, and I was like, man. And I gained that like really knowledge that she wanted to engrave to like me and like the rest of my family. And like every day I wake up, I'm so grateful, really grateful. And that's why like I like to incorporate like a lot of things when I stream here, is just to bring like really like that like good vibes, and just tell
Yeah.
everybody not to like really give up or anything. And like, and, what you're saying too, which I really like too, because that's great really knowledge to share with people that you interact with and whatnot. Like for me, it doesn't matter like what age or anything, because like when I see like Gen Z's, I'm inspired by them because they have so much work ethic. I was like, man, I remember I
Yeah.
was like that when I was like in my early 20s, and I love it. Because the thing is like I can still do that. I just have to execute and do it.
Right. Yeah. No matter. Yeah. A person's a person, despite the age. Some people have gifts. Other people don't have those gifts. It's
Mhm.
like, I feel like, despite the age, you should definitely be considerate towards people in general. So I agree with that for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. And
And as far as your like the passing of your grandparents, I remember you said that you got closer with your parents. You did talk about things you never thought you would talk about. So I guess that's another way I can imagine. And correct me if I'm wrong. To just kind of move forward, considering that newfound connection or element of connection with your parents has come about because of that.
yep. Yeah, and it's just they're giving me real talk, and I give it back to them as well too, and try to make the best out of it. Really do try to make the best out of it, because I wake up every day thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to be able to do things that I want to do, to accomplish and whatnot. Um, and it's just the realization, like I don't mean to scare anybody, but it's just how I feel when I wake up, because I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow or not. It's just because it's just how life is. But
Hmm.
I wake up knowing like I want to succeed. I want to be able to do as many things as I can. Bring smiles to people's faces, and it's kind of like all that. Like I'm so imperfect though. But I'm learning every day when I wake up too. Like, okay, tomorrow I won't do that. Tomorrow I
Yeah.
will do that, kind of like that. So
Yeah, learning never really stops. And I mean, as far as like thinking about like if you'll be alive the next day or not, like for me, I guess it's never been like a highly stressful thing for me to get through that. I guess like just seeing how the decisions I've made, have sort of like laid the path out for me. I sort of see things throughout my life that sort of shrink, like sort of lead me on. Like it could be like a road sign you see. It could be the timing of a certain thing, and like the reoccurrence of such timed things. Like I feel like there's a path for me, and I feel like I'm not done yet. So like for me personally, that's it's kind of made me just focused on the future. Not saying that you aren't focused on the future, but I know for me, as far as like not knowing if I'm gonna be alive the next day or not, that's sort of the thing that sort of keeps my mind on that kind of a track.
mm-hmm. Awesome. Um, this is kind of like segueing to just like life and everything.
Yeah.
Because I got a couple questions for you before we head out.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
What are you passionate about in life?
I mean, outside of competitive gaming and violin, I guess, when it comes to the heart of everything, it's just gaining wisdom, just, whatever questions I have, like just not being afraid to pursue them. And, if I'm curious about something, not letting someone, stomp away my curiosity. It's just just sort of gaining knowledge in the order that it comes in as far as what questions I have on a particular day. And also just being empathetic towards others, just being understanding, and it kind of goes back to the environment with my Twitch channel, my YouTube channel, just having an environment where people can feel like they can come in, talk about whatever. Sort of like me and my buddy Victor as well. We have a podcast. We can get into that a bit later. But yeah, it's just yeah. I'm very passionate about. I feel like emotional intelligence is a subject I'm very passionate about. Just being able to have understanding of how people feel, and if you have a particular amount of innate empathy, like to not like ignore it or put it on the back burner, to just like don't forget it, because I feel like empathy and emotional intelligence it can be very useful, especially in our world today, talking about things like mental health. Emotions are a real thing. There's some people that grow up thinking, oh, no one cares about your emotions. I've heard people say that. That might be the case with some people, but that doesn't mean that emotions don't exist. You might not care about them, but that doesn't mean that emotions don't exist. You've acknowledged emotions, so just because you have the stance you do doesn't mean that's the end all. There's people that gravitate more towards those sorts of things, understanding emotions, and maintain their own. And if their environment is adequate enough and good enough, they can help maintain other people's, aka being a good friend to somebody else and whatnot. So I mean, I'm just definitely passionate about always asking the questions I'm curious about, and then finding as close to a good answer as I can, and also about just connecting with people emotionally, and just seeing how my impact, or I guess you could say my legacy on the world, will unfold from that particular point.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Who asked? Was that Zinc?
He's talking about chips. He wants you to show the chips. He's been spamming on. He says, "Please show the chips."
I already feel here. I'll eat one more here.
He wants to see the chips.
Just for Zinc.
Just for the content.
There you go.
There you go. But I just want to say, Ace, that I see that a lot in you. Just through just like chatting and everything. Well, very well spoken. Very what your mission is in this planet you want to do. And yeah, you already touched me. You're gonna leave a legacy, so that's really cool. So thank you so much again for
That's
sharing
awesome.
that. Yeah, of course.
I want to keep going, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride. I'm glad for your community to be introduced to me. I'm glad I was able to talk. It's been fantastic. This is exactly what I figured it was going to be, just us talking and I'm glad we got to talk about the subjects we talked
Oh
about.
yeah,
It's awesome,
this is
and
what.
I'll always be a supporter of your channel, D-Rad, always.
Ah, thank you. Me too. Me too. Likewise. I do got one more question for you before we head out. So this is my favorite one to ask everybody. It's the hard-hitting question. So if you could play one video game throughout your whole life, just because it could be gameplay, story, graphics, favorite video game that you grew up with as a child, what game would it be? And it has to be one.
Can it be like, let's say if it was a game and it had like a sequels and it was like a trilogy, can you only pick one out of the three, or can it be like that whole game's like trilogy?
Let's just say, yeah, you can combine those together because they usually have those like games now, collectibles where they'll combine it to one disc. Yeah, that's cool. What would it be?
All right, so that's a pretty easy answer. So it'd be the Final Fantasy 13 saga. Another controversial or hot take. A lot of people don't like that game, but
Yeah.
the reason I like it, I mean, the world in there's a bit of tragedy, but I just would like to witness what the characters go through. Or heck, it'd be cool if I was even a character in there. If the game's about overcoming hardship, overcome someone trying to tell you to do something that is wrong, and it's about being influenced by that external factor versus what is right inside. And it touches on stuff like religion and how that affects people and influences their lives. In the final game, Lightning Returns Final Fantasy, I won't spoil it at all, but it gets to a point where it's like the character has to make the ultimate decision of what they're gonna do. Are they gonna stick with what they know is right for themselves, or are they gonna stick with what someone's saying that they know isn't correct because they questioned and they're not afraid to do what's right by them. And in the end, in the last game, it's what's right for them and all of humanity. I'll say that much. So it's just that whole journey of that saga. Like that was the most amazing thing I've played, the most amazing experience I've had when it comes to gaming.
Nice, awesome. I've never played any of the Final Fantasy series in my life.
Well, there's plenty of them to choose from, so wherever you want to start. But 13 is my favorite. 13. My first was 8. My first was 8 back on PS1. I never thought anything would beat that experience. Like learning the game and then like being like I remember I played like 9 hours straight once because I ended up getting hooked into that game. Nice. But then with 13, it's just the story. I was an adult at that time, and the topics they were touching on were topics I was passionate about. So just the way that game and that trilogy was handled, that's my favorite video game experience of all time. Once again, a hot take, controversial take, but I don't care because
no judgment here. No judgment here. I'm definitely gonna add that to my wish list. It's pretty cool because so far, when I've asked that question, Final Fantasy has been winning on everybody's kind of like favorite video game. So that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16. I haven't played 16, but I've watched pretty much a whole playthrough of it. I'm not saying anything, but if that my little brother, he used to watch me play Final Fantasy 8, 12, 10-2 growing up. So he's playing his first Final Fantasy for the first time and at 16, and he's having the time of his life. I told him without spoiling him that once you get through the whole game, it's literally mind blowing. Like the graphics, the story, it's all there. So awesome. Final Fantasy is still doing good things. Cool. Excuse me, big things.
One day I'm gonna play it on stream.
One day, I'm sure it'll happen. You'll pick one, and then hopefully, you'll enjoy it, and that'll be, if not your favorite, one of the ones that keeps you going to the next, maybe.
Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys. Gonna do my ending outro here. So I just want to say to everybody, thank you peeps for watching Luncho with a Friendo episode 22 with Ace Unlimited. I really appreciate all you peeps for watching. If you ain't following me on the socials, everything is at d-Rad punks right above there. Of course, you're watching on Twitch. I'm also on YouTube, SoundCloud, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Let's see here. And Ace, feel free to self-promote anything that you want right now.
Right. Main thing is just my Twitch channel. It's I think from what I remember, you can do exclamation point Ace, and you'll be taken to my bio in my Twitch channel. My violin YouTube is the only thing that's there right now, but it's pretty much Twitch and that are the main things I want to promote. And feel free to stop by. I do Streets of Rage for score runs. That's the majority of what I do. I do the esports stuff too, but I mainly focus on the tournaments for that. But you'll catch me doing a Tekken or Street Fighter stream here and there, but mainly Streets of Rage, and I do violin streams as well. Feel free to, if you like classical music, if you like violin interpretations of video game music, feel free to stop by. And I thank d-Rad for having me. It was a blast. It was what I thought it was going to be. I was glad to vibe out with you and the community. I hope everyone has a great rest of the night. Take care of yourselves. And just know that there's people out here like me and d-Rad that, our space on our Twitch channels, we're here to listen and have the rad positive vibes, right?
Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you. It's my favorite words to say. It was such a blast. I felt like we could do this for like 5 more hours, and I'm serious about that. We could.
No joke. Like this kind of thing, it's similar to what me and my buddy Victor do. Like when we do our podcast, like we just like we have a intent, but we just like sort of have the same vibe, sort of like this. And I guess that's the last thing I want to promote. If you go on iTunes, our podcast it's based on mental health. It's called Clear Illusion. We have a couple of episodes out where we have guests on, sort of like I'm a guest on d-Rad's channel, where me and him will talk with them, give them a floor to talk about whatever they want to talk about, and then we sort of give commentary. And we just sort of show them that there's people out there, once again, like me and you, d-Rad, me and him, that are willing to listen and, give, positive feedback and understanding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you guys are more than welcome, like Ace said, to just come hang out with us through our Discord channels or whenever we stream. We always love chatting and getting to know the peeps here within the community. So, awesome. Alright, I found a raid target that we're gonna go to, so we'll do that.
Nice.
What do you got going on the rest of the days?
I am doing one more episode for the podcast that me and Victor are doing, and I know I said I was gonna stream yesterday, but I ended up being a little tired. Yeah. I disappointed, but I'm off work tomorrow too, so if not tonight, I'll be doing another Ace in the morning. Whether it's Vice City, Streets of Rage 4, I'll surprise you.
All right. Heck yeah. Could you put down the name on chat here of your podcast that you...
Oh, yes.
That you and Vic do?
Yeah, so it's called this. And it's on iTunes. I'm trying to think if there's a better link. I think literally if you go to the iTunes store and type that in, okay. the border is purple. Uh-huh. Oh, see, yeah, Victor's typing it typing it in the chat as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, feel free to listen to their podcast as well, guys. I'm definitely gonna listen to it too after I get off stream here, because that's really awesome that what you guys do. Mental health is really important to discuss in this world right now. That's a cool thing that you guys are doing, so I appreciate you both. Okay, let's see here. I have the raid commands in, so if you guys want to copy that down, if you are not sub to me, you can. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's some gifted subs. Yeah, Matt's kind of the king of the gifted subs.
Oh my gosh, Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And also don't forget to search Hillary Hahn too. You won't regret it. Remember?
Yep, I will do that too. I have everything on my notes what I have to do. So
nice.
Cool. Hey man, thank you for your support, d-Rad. You're more than welcome. Oh yeah, for sure.
It was a blast.
We'll see you later, guys. Bye, everybody. Bye.